Hi, friends. Today, I want to tell you a story. Hope you enjoy. When I was young, I never wanted to be rich. My parents taught me to work hard and be humble. Dad had a small diner, and Mom helped at the diner and also worked as a teacher's helper. We weren't poor, but we didn't have a lot of money either, just enough to be happy. When I turned 25, I got my grandfather's big real estate business. But I kept it a secret. I wanted to find someone who liked me for me, not because I had money. So, I kept working as a waitress at Charlie's Diner, the same place where I worked while in college. That's where I met Michael. He came every morning for coffee and pancakes and always sat where I worked. Unlike other rich people who ignored me, Michael talked to me. He asked how I was, remembered what I said, and made me laugh with his silly jokes. After 3 months of pancakes and smiles, he finally asked me out. "I know a good little Italian restaurant," he said, nervously playing with his tie. "Only if you're tired of serving food and want someone to serve you," I joked. "Yes," he said. That dinner changed my life. Michael was kind, funny, and really cared about me, not my money. He told me he was a successful architect, but that didn't impress me. I loved that on our third date, he helped an old couple fix a flat tire in the rain. But problems started when I met his family, especially his mother, Victoria Armstrong. The Armstrongs were very rich, and Victoria made sure everyone knew it. The first time I visited their big house, she looked me up and down like I was dirt. "A waitress," she said with a mean smile. How cute. Michael always defended me, but Victoria kept saying rude things about my simple life and education. I had a business degree, but she didn't think it was good enough. And she didn't like that I was a waitress. Still, I loved Michael, and he loved me. We got married in a small ceremony. Victoria called it embarrassingly simple. I didn't care. I was happy. My secret fortune stayed hidden in my grandfather's companies. Everything changed at Victoria's big summer party. She spent months planning it, inviting Boston's richest people to show off her house and her status. That morning, my lawyer called with big news. The deed to Victoria's mansion was finally mine. I had bought it through a secret company, along with many houses in her fancy neighborhood. I almost told Michael about my money, but Victoria's behavior at the party made me wait. I came early to help, wearing a simple but nice blue dress. Victoria saw me and sneered. "Oh dear, is that from a regular store? I guess that's the best a waitress can do." I ignored her like always. The party started, and Victoria's house filled with Boston's rich and powerful. I knew most of them, not as a waitress, but as their landlord. They just didn't know it yet. Then came the worst part, Victoria's speech. She stood on the big staircase with a glass of champagne and thanked everyone. Then she saw me trying to stay quiet. "Oh, and here's our special guest," she said loudly. "My son's wife, the waitress." Sometimes I think Michael married her just to annoy me. What else could a successful architect want with a pancake server? People laughed. Some looked awkward. Michael was late, stuck in traffic. I was alone. Victoria kept talking, drunk on wine and attention. "But sweetie, you'll always be a worthless waitress pretending to fit in." I felt all eyes on me. Victoria's harsh words hung in the air. But instead of crying or running away, I smiled. A calm smile that seemed to bother Victoria a little. "Thanks for your kindness, Victoria," I said softly. "I'll take my leave now." As I walked to my car, I took out my phone and called my lawyer, John. "Remember the renovation rule in the new rental agreement? Let's start it." The next morning, I went home to wait for Michael, knowing Victoria's perfect life was about to fall apart. Tomorrow would bring a surprise that would erase her proud smile forever. That night, when Michael finally came home, I was sitting in the kitchen waiting. He looked upset. "I heard what happened," he said, hugging me. "I'm sorry. Mom was wrong. I'll talk to her and make her say sorry." I shook my head, holding back tears. Not because I was sad, but because I was about to tell him a secret. "Michael, I have to tell you something. Something I should have told you before." But before I could say more, my phone buzzed. It was John. "Everything is ready for tomorrow morning." Victoria's perfect world was about to be turned upside down, and for the first time, I was excited to face my mother-in-law. The next morning was bright and clear. I woke up early, feeling nervous and excited. Michael had left for an important meeting, not knowing today would change everything. I dressed carefully in a sharp business suit. No more waitress clothes, no more hiding. At exactly 9 a.m., 3 black SUVs arrived at Victoria's mansion. From my car, I watched my lawyer John lead a team of workers and lawyers to the front door. Victoria answered, still wearing her silk robe, looking annoyed. "What's going on here?" she asked. John smiled professionally. "Mrs. Armstrong, I represent Boston Heritage Properties as your new landlord. We're here to tell you we're starting big repairs on this house right away." Victoria's face turned pale. "This is crazy. I own this house." "Not anymore," John said, handing her a thick envelope. "The house was bought last month by my client. According to the deal your lawyer signed, you're now renting it with a rule that requires big repairs." "This can't be true," Victoria shouted. Who thinks they can do this?" That was my moment. I stepped out of my car and walked up the marble stairs, enjoying the look of shock on Victoria's face. "Hello, Victoria," I said calmly. She staggered back, holding the door frame. But you're just a waitress." I smiled, thinking of my grandfather and his lessons about business. "I am many things, Victoria. Yes, I'm a waitress. But I also own this house, most of the homes in this neighborhood, and about 60% of the shops in downtown Boston." The workers started bringing in tools as Victoria stood frozen in surprise. "The repairs will take about 6 months," I said. "During that time, you'll need to move out. But as your landlord, I must offer you another place to stay." I handed her a shiny brochure for a small apartment across town. "It's not as fancy as you're used to, but it's the best I could find quickly. Or you can stay with your sister in Connecticut." Victoria's face turned red with anger. "You planned this all along. You just wanted to shame me." "No, Victoria," I said firmly. "I kept my money secret because I wanted people to know me for who I really am, not for what I own. You chose to judge me, to treat me like I was worthless because of my job." Just then, Michael's car pulled into the driveway. He got out, confused by the scene. "What's happening?" he asked, looking at me and his mother. Victoria started yelling, but I raised my hand to stop her. "Michael, remember what I tried to tell you last night? It's time you knew the truth." Over the next hour, sitting in what was now my living room, I told Michael everything about my grandfather, the inheritance, and why I hid it. Michael listened quietly. "So all this time," he said at last, "you were scared I would want you for your money?" I nodded, tears in my eyes. "I love you for who you are, Michael. I just wanted to be sure you loved me for who I am too." He hugged me tightly. I fell in love with a kind, hardworking waitress who always helped others and never looked down on anyone. Finding out she's also a secret property owner doesn't change that, except maybe where we go on vacation. Victoria, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. "Michael, can't you see? She lied to us. She fooled us." Michael looked at his mother, his face serious.
"No, Mom.
"You made a fool of yourself all those times you mocked my wife. You showed everyone who you really are. The only difference is now they know who she really is too." In the next weeks, Victoria's perfect life fell apart. The repairs made her move to the apartment I offered. Her sister said she had no room. People in their social group started whispering that the waitress they laughed at was really their landlord. But the real change came 3 months later. I was leaving Charlie's Diner after my usual Saturday shift. Yes, I still work there because I love it. Victoria walked in, looking different, humbled. "I've been thinking a lot," she said quietly, "about who I am and how I treat people. I owe you an apology." I looked at her, seeing real regret for the first time. "Want some coffee?" I asked. "I make a pretty good cup for a worthless waitress." She flinched at her own words. "I deserve that. I deserve it all. I miss my son, and that means I need to make things right with you first." I poured her a cup and sat down across from her. "You know, Victoria, the repair rule doesn't actually make you move out. I just wanted you to feel what it's like when someone else judges you and turns your world upside down." She looked at me, understanding. You mean I can move back once I learn to treat people with respect, no matter their job or money? Real respect, not just polite words because I'm your landlord? Victoria took a shaky breath. I'd like that. And maybe you can teach me how to make those pancakes Michael loves. I smiled. We'll start with coffee and work our way up. That day was a fresh start. Victoria did move back to the mansion, but only after spending 6 months working part-time with me at the diner. She learned every worker's name, their stories, and dreams. She learned that true worth isn't about money or status, but how you treat people. Michael and I moved into a penthouse downtown, but kept our small apartment too. I kept working at the diner because it reminds me who I am and what really matters. My grandfather's legacy wasn't just the property business he built. It was the values he gave me: hard work, humility, and respect for everyone. Now, every Sunday, Victoria joins us for brunch. She makes the coffee herself, and nobody cares that it's not quite as good as mine. What matters is she finally understands that true worth isn't about owning a big house. It's about being a good person who deserves to live in one. And me? I'm still the waitress who serves pancakes with a smile. I'm also a wife, a businesswoman, and now, surprisingly, my mother-in-law's teacher in kindness. Most importantly, I'm myself, and that's worth more than all the mansions in Boston.